Hello everyone and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today we are watching Kramus 6969 in the König Albert, the Tier 3 German premium battleship. Now he is on the map Big Race in a standard battle. And it's a Tier 4 battle, which is the worst matchmaking you can get as a Tier 3. But there are only 3 Tier 4s around, so not that bad overall. There's also no carrier, which is nice because the anti-air at the König Albert is lacking. Now, the König Albert is a Kaiser-class battleship. The Kaiser would be the Tier 4 battleship in the German line. But she's a bit worse than a Tier 4 stock Kaiser. Still, she is certainly a very strong ship. And I will link a review from LittleWhiteMouse in the video description. Now here in the beginning we can see Kramus staying in the north and going towards here, right side of the map. Now it's usual that you see the bigger ships stay up here or go here towards this corner. In the middle you are just getting shot from multiple sides and will have trouble angling, and here in the south there are many small islands and you have to expect torpedo ambushes down here. So you usually see the bigger ships going towards this corner. Also keep in mind this is a very small map, so even if you are in this corner you still have some time to get back home if there is trouble. Now Kramus is here also in a division with other König Alberts. And hey, there is a St. Louis who is showing broadside and is running into torpedoes. And he is down. So, we're off to a good start. Now it seems not a lot of the friendly team are here in the south. And there is a big enemy fleet coming this way, so something to keep in mind. The enemies have little ships up here, but might be that the friendlies have to turn around and defend. And yes, unfortunately those salvo didn't do a lot. Now the König Albert doesn't have the best accuracy as is usual for German battleships. It also has a quite weird turret layout, as you might know if you have played the König. So if you wanna shoot all your turrets at one side, it is certainly possible, but you really have to show your broadside, and that can be rather unhealthy. And here we can see one of the new British cruisers. He is showing broadside, so yeah. Now he is gone. Now while this is a common sight for the British cruiser line, really, in any cruiser you don't just show your broadside to a battleship. It's just not very healthy. Unless you're getting really lucky. Now the enemies up here are retreating, but down here in the south it's not looking good. There are only 2 friendly ships remaining. Now the enemies aren't pushing that hard yet, but as soon as they just here drive north, the friendlies here have to turn back to defend. And I think Kramus and his division mates are noticing that as well. So they'll turn around now and try to help out defend the base. There isn't really much point in continuing to push towards here. It would take them way too long. Would go towards the enemy base. And yes, there is a friendly destroyer in here capping, but I don't think he will have much success with that. The enemies still have ships near. The König Albert isn't the fastest ship, but yeah, I mean you are getting used to those things if you're a battleship driver. And yeah, the friendly destroyer is no longer capping because the enemies are now contesting the point. So this destroyer is kind of surrounded and he went down. Meanwhile, there is no defense left in the friendly base. The enemies are now pushing into it. And it looks like the 3 König Alberts are the only one going back to defend. Well, I mean, they should do a decent job of it. Also is only one enemy destroyer left. We know he is in the enemy cap circle right now. And maybe he's going down here. Yes, he is. So they don't have to worry about torpedoes that much. Obviously some cruisers carry them as well. But defending this cap will be a brawl. And German battleships really excel at. The König Albert has some very nice secondaries with about a 4-kilometer base range, and since she's a premium ship, you can use a very experienced captain in her. So if you are having a high-tier German battleship captain, you can put her in the König Albert and profit from the captain skills. And there is a Kaiser who is probably sailing broadside on. Yes, he is. Some very nice hits there. And now we can see the enemies. Now they could have stayed behind this island and just try to cap it out. But they've now started to engage. The friendly team obviously has a ship now in there to contest that, so the enemies kind of have to get aggressive. And hey, another British cruiser showing broadside. It's more down to the fact that he's showing broadside than that he's a British cruiser, but being very lightly armored certainly doesn't help. Now overall the friendly team is a bit behind ship-wise, but nothing's lost yet. The enemy team is pretty split here between the apps, unfortunately the friendly team as well. And there's a Svetlana, and you see the Svetlana was somewhat angled and he didn't get citadeled. Now he's trying to retreat back behind the island. But while doing so, he is now showing his broadside, and that's not a good thing. Of course, he has to angle against multiple opponents right now, so he's just in a very bad spot in general. But as we can see, if he's showing broadside, he is getting citadeled as well. Now only enemy battleships remain, so those are the last torpedoes we are going to encounter in this battle. And it looks like the enemy Kaiser ran out of friends. Ah, there was a second salvo torpedoes on the way, it seems. Yeah, the enemy Kaiser is also showing broadside, but he is starting to angle right now. But you know, doesn't really stand much of a chance. He's up against 3 König Alberts. I think the best thing that Kaiser can hope for is maybe getting a ramming kill. And yeah, I mean the friendly ships are kind of also showing broadside, which isn't that great. And unfortunately there was a hit at the friendly ship. But yeah, didn't do much. The enemy is dealt with. He didn't survive long enough to get the ram. And the cap is secure. Now there are still 4 enemy battleships remaining. A friendly cruiser is here retreating in the north and trying to rejoin the main force here. So maybe this battle could go either way, but I think it's looking okay for the friendly team, especially since the 3 König Alberts here are in a division, so they will stick together and support each other. while the enemies might just charge in one at a time. Now we can see two of the enemy battleships here, but I'm unsure where the other two are. This NASA is showing broadside, but I think he's starting to angle. There's a pretty healthy König Albert with him, and there is another NASA. Now the NASA is also a pretty good battleship at tier 3. Still don't see the 4th battleship. And the cruiser here in the north is probably a bit too far in the north to provide much supporting fire. And unfortunately he is down. So it's down to the 3 friendly König Alberts. Now I would argue that some of those ships are showing way too much broadside, but I think everybody wants to use the middle guns with the bit awkward turret placement. And yeah, the secondaries are opening up. Again, you have to be careful. The enemy König Albert might just be going for a ram if he can ram the rather healthy friendly König Albert here and take out the other one with his guns. This might just be a loss. Also, there is an enemy battleship inside the cap now. He's sneaking here behind Island. And yeah, that was a very big hit. Unfortunately, the enemy König Albert was taken out before he could get a ramming kill. Now it's still 2 against 3 here. This Nassau is probably going down with this salvo. And yeah, this Nassau has no chance of capping position. And also he will go down with the focus fire of the 2 König Alberts. So the last enemy battleship joins the fray. But he's a bit late. So the enemy positioning wasn't ideal with all those islands. And as you can see, shooting a Nassau bow on is not going to do that much. At this distance you either need to hit the superstructure or you need to fire high explosive. So as you can see, the superstructure does some damage. Now that Nassau is dealt with, and the friendlies have found cover from the last remaining battleship behind this island. And that's just the enemy positioning wasn't all that great. They weren't able to support each other all the time. And yeah, the enemy Nassau will probably go down shortly. The König Albert should have this in the bag. And just look at all those secondaries fly. It's low tier, but German battleships even at this tier are just beautiful to watch. Now then Nassau is trying to retreat behind this island, but unless he has like a lot of repair charts remaining, I mean, he really can't do a lot, right? He would have to catch them off guard and maybe Citadel König Alberts. And there is the Nassau, and there is the win. Let's take a look at the results. Kramos managed to get 1592 base experience, which certainly is a lot at tier 3. And he managed to sink 8 enemy ships, certainly very well played by him and also by his whole division. They are the top 3 of the team in experience earned. They went in the north and, well, pushed in the beginning, saw that the cap needed be defended, so they turned around and secured the cap and won the game. Ramos earned himself Confederate First Blood, Kraken, 2 devastating strikes and high caliber. He managed to deal 114,000 points of damage in a tier 3 battle. And it was certainly a pleasure to watch. I hope you enjoyed it as well, and I'll see you guys next time.